Notice anything different about this ASUS Zenbook Duo laptop? The gimmick here is pretty obvious. It's the two screens. Just like there's two of me. Please don't talk over me. This laptop originally rolled out last year, but this is a new version. It's supercharged. It's the souped up sequel. Just like I'm the more dark and gritty sequel to you. Hey, I could be dark and gritty. At first glance, this is a traditional looking laptop, but you pick up the keyboard and you have a full-sized second screen right here below. And this detachable Bluetooth keyboard allows you to put this into various configurations. There's even a kickstand along the back that makes this easy to prop up on your desk for dual screen use. It's a surprisingly useful gimmick. So useful that calling it a gimmick might be unfair. Did you dye your hair? I'm the evil Brad. This is just how I look. What makes me love this form factor so much is that it can be used as just a boring old laptop. When you get it out of the box and open it up for the first time, that's what it is. The thin keyboard comes sandwiched in between those screens and it sticks to the bottom screen magnetically, and these are some pretty serious magnets. They just feel really solid. So when you're using the keyboard, you don't even realize that this is a dual screen laptop. Pulling it off turns on that second screen, placing it back on turns off that second screen automatically. Wait, you're paying for two screens. Why would you cover one of them up? That's just it. With a lot of products, the gimmick becomes a trade-off. For example, Microsoft's first dual screen phone looks really slick. It was crazy thin, but the camera was trash. That's your trade-off. Foldable phones give you a larger screen, but then how do you just glance at your notifications? You need to add a second screen to the outside for that. It's a trade-off. Sometimes you just need a boring laptop that does laptop things well. I wrote most of this review while sitting on the couch while this was just a boring laptop. This computer let me do that perfectly fine. Yet, when I need it, I can go to those two screen modes. I don't see the trade-off. So what you're saying is you did pay too much for the two screens, one of which you're not using. Here's another thing. It's not a cheap laptop, but also it's not crazy expensive. When I initially saw the specs and I was looking online, I assumed, oh gosh, this thing is going to cost like over $2,000, but it's starting at $1,500 for the Core Ultra 7 variation and $1,700 for the Core Ultra 9 variant with more RAM. That's the one I have here. Also worth noting, this has 1 terabyte of storage, 32 gigabytes of RAM. The I/O on here is okay, right? For a super thin laptop, it's about what you would expect. 2 USB Type-C ports, a USB Type-A port, even an HDMI port, although one of those USB Type-Cs is going to be used for charging it up. That's your power port too. Pretty standard for laptops like this nowadays. But really, what we're here for, the stars of the show, are these screens. And these aren't two cheapo screens. They're both beautiful, high-density 3K OLED displays. And they look really good. They're also 120 hertz. Again, I'm just surprised that we're getting so many features at this price point. Yeah, that's the part I don't get. Why are you acting so surprised? Maybe it's because I got this in the mail the same day I got the new Surface Pro 12-inch I reviewed a few weeks back. And that device, well, it felt great to hold and there was a lot that I loved about it. I kind of felt nickeled and dimed with that product. They were holding back specs. It only had 256 gigabytes of storage on that base model, had a smaller screen than this does with a lower refresh rate. Also, no OLED options. The pen and the keyboard, those cost extra, quite a bit extra. And while I was using this, I felt that it was just refreshing to get products with great specs and not a crazy price. If this was an Apple or a Microsoft product, it would cost $2,500. The performance here is also pretty good. It can handle any drawing app that I throw at it, no problem. But even working in Premiere or exporting from Adobe Animate, which is something I use quite a bit, was pretty solid. Blender, another app I use for 3D modeling and rendering, worked really well. Actually, the rendering thing was, I guess it was okay. You're not gonna render animation out of this like you would on a workstation, but overall the integrated Intel Arc graphics do better than I expected. You're still avoiding my second screen question. All right, you got me. I didn't really use the second screen much, but again, I'm glad it's there. Part of the reason I didn't use it much is I don't go anywhere. I work from home. But thinking back to when I was working in other people's offices quite a bit, this would have been amazing. Anywhere I go, I just pull off that keyboard, turn up the kickstand, and boom, I've got a dual monitor setup all the time. And the keyboard charges itself while it's magnetically connected to the bottom screen. So I never really had a problem with the keyboard running out of battery. But what about this kickstand? Overall, it's pretty solid, right? It's gonna stand up really well. Folds out from the bottom, really stiff, so it's not going to slide around or flop down on you. It is built for standing, though, less for like getting good drawing angles. What is that? What's on the cue card over there? Are you gonna advertise to these poor people? What? No, absolutely not. No. I'm sick of this. This whole review's been sunshine and rainbows. I'm taking over now. I'm gonna tell these people the truth. Into the bottle of solitude with you. Let me out! He hasn't mentioned the pen here yet, has he? It's an MPP pen, Microsoft Pen Protocol. And sure, it looks good, it's textured, it feels well weighted in your hand, but drawing with it, nah. This is the same tech you get in a lot of these Windows-based laptops with these pens. So if you've seen him talk about the Surface Pen before, you have a pretty good idea of what this pen's gonna do. You don't have to work very hard to find wave when you're drawing. Slow angled lines, going around curves, that's where it really shows up. I mean, other stuff that this pen does, it does pretty well. For example, it holds pressure well, it's accurate, all that stuff. But if you're gonna draw with it on the regular, especially if you're doing line work like he's doing here, you're gonna have to add some stroke stabilization to it. Unfortunately, what does that do? It also adds some pen lag. Brad's doing that to these goofy looking Muppets he's drawing in the background here. And you can see there are places where the lines don't quite connect because he picked up the pen before the line had a chance to catch up with what he was drawing. That's because of that stroke stabilization he has turned on. Tell them about my sweaty hands! His hands are disgusting, people. I don't know how he deals with it. No, on the screen, the sweaty hands! Oh, right. Yeah, the screen gets pretty warm when you're drawing. Brad's wearing a glove here so that his palm would not stick to the screen. The keyboard cover when you're typing on it is thick enough that it blocks a lot of that heat, but that's not going to help you too much when you're drawing. Also, palm rejection seemed to be pretty good here. It didn't leave too many extra dots while sketching around. It's worth noting that you can draw on either screen. Pen works on both screens, but the top one isn't super stable. It wobbles. This is not a 360-degree laptop, so you can't just like fold the screen over and draw on the top. The bottom screen is definitely the comfortable place to draw, which makes sense, right? You can have your reference work or anything you need on the top screen while you're drawing on the bottom screen. And like he mentioned before, that stand is really more for propping this up for viewing angles, not for drawing angles. It's just too steep. Finally, I got out of there! Did I miss the chance to promote my courses? I guess I'll link them down below. If you've ever wanted to get into art and illustration, they're really geared towards beginners. Anyway, we gotta talk about this little piece of cardboard that came in the box. The idea here was for this to act as a stand for the laptops when you want it for that drawing mode. Just prop it up at a nice little angle, you're good to go. But it doesn't feel premium like everything else that comes with this laptop. It feels really cheap and flimsy, and it doesn't hold its shape really well. Other companies have really been doing some cool things with stands and cases and propping them up at cool angles. This just feels like an afterthought. This also comes with a laptop sleeve that can also operate as a makeshift prop, but that also feels flimsy. It slides around a lot. It's not super stable when the laptop is on it. It works, but it could have been a lot better. So even though I am a little bit down on this laptop as my primary drawing tool, I do really like it as a laptop, and I do really love the idea. This two-screen form factor is kind of brilliant, and I think this is the first one that really nails that. I've seen folding screens, and that was similar to this, but it was just kind of awkward and really expensive. ASUS made a Zenbook Duo a long time ago, 5 or 6 years ago, that had a tiny screen on it, and they moved the keyboard up, and that keyboard wasn't super comfortable to type on, and the screen was kind of small. This really improves on it. And the fact that they built in a stand that lets you just set it up at a comfortable angle to view it at, just makes a ton of sense. The Bluetooth keyboard, another plus. It's just that Windows protocol pen that holds it back as a drawing tool. It really depends on what you're going to use this laptop for. I'll link some of my other videos here if you want to check those out, or check out my website if you want to see where I rank some of the Windows tablets that I have reviewed if you're doing some research. Anyway, that's all I have for today, and I'll talk to you guys later.